Did you know that Croatia was once part of the Roman Empire? In this country, history lives in every stone and pathway, where centuries of battles and trade have left their mark. Along the rugged Adriatic coast, fishing boats with brightly painted hulls bob gently beside limestone docks worn smooth by time. Inland, terraced olive groves cling to hillsides dotted with red-tiled roofs, while villagers still bake bread in wood-fired ovens passed down through generations. Festivals echo with traditional music and dance, weaving ancient customs into modern celebrations. And somewhere along this storied coast, a city's main street was built slightly off-center, not by accident, but to protect it from cannon fire. Join us now as we explore the land of 1,000 islands, Croatia. With nearly 800,000 residents, Zagreb is Croatia's beating inland heart, where the modern day hums against centuries-old roots. It's a city layered with contrast. Sleek trams glide past old-world facades, and quiet courtyards sit behind energetic boulevards. For centuries, Zagreb stood as a cultural and political frontier between empires, and traces of those legacies are etched not in monuments alone, but in daily rituals. Coffee shared in sunlit plazas, festivals that blend folklore with innovation, and neighborhoods that feel like separate eras stitched together. This is not a city that seeks to impress with grandeur, but one that rewards attention with depth. Its story is ongoing, its rhythm patient, and its charm best revealed slowly, on foot, at the pace of a local. Tucked into Istria's southern tip, Pula is a coastal city shaped by centuries of reinvention. Home to around 50,000 people today, it's long served as a strategic maritime hub, claimed and reclaimed by empires, yet always adapting without losing its character. Though often recognized for ancient relics, Pula's true identity is more complex. Shipyards echo with industrial grit, while everyday life unfolds in the shadow of structures older than most nations. Beyond the obvious, the city hides a web of underground tunnels once used for protection and passage, now standing silent, a ghostly reminder of turbulent times. Here, history isn't curated. It's absorbed through the senses, in the clang of fishing boats, the mix of languages, and the thick scent of sea and stone meeting under sun. Rovinj rises like a splash of color against the Adriatic's blues, its clustered buildings reflecting centuries of artistic impulse and maritime necessity. With a population of just over 13,000 residents, this city feels less like a destination and more like a shared secret. Its past is stitched from a patchwork of rulers and tradesmen, and its dialect, a lyrical mix of tongues, reveals a community forged in cultural exchange. Time in Rovinj does not pass in hours, but in tides, breezes, and the flicker of paintbrushes in waterfront studios. It's a place where life resists haste and prioritizes beauty over bustle. Hidden gardens thrive behind arched doorways, and at sunrise, the town glows with a kind of quiet pride, earned not through dominance, but through enduring charm. Rising above a forested landscape like something out of folklore, Trakoscan Castle is not merely an architectural relic. It is a symbol of changing power and purpose. The surrounding region, sparsely populated and deeply wooded, creates a buffer from the modern world, allowing the area to exist as a historical echo. Originally constructed in the 13th century and heavily reimagined during the 19th, the site now draws interest not just for its fairy tale silhouette, but for what it reveals about the shifting ambitions of aristocracy, the rise of romantic nationalism, and the layered histories of the borderlands. The nearby lake and grounds are artificially shaped, but have matured into a self-sustaining habitat, drawing wildlife that blurs the line between cultivated land and true wilderness. Zadar's story is one of reinvention, a city that has stood for over 3,000 years and still greets each sunrise with quiet determination. With a population nearing 75,000 residents, it balances old-world substance with experimental spirit. Though it has withstood earthquakes, occupations, and sieges, Zadar thrives not because of what it preserved, but how it adapted. The scent of the sea mingles with the rhythm of bells and the murmur of conversations in hidden squares. Layers of history run deep here, not merely visible, but tangible in the way locals navigate streets that have shifted with every century. It's a city that doesn't ask to be explained, only experienced, where modernity is welcome, but never allowed to outshine its enduring soul. Split is a living contradiction, where ancient bones hold up a vibrant modern body. Nearly 180,000 people call this coastal city home, weaving their daily lives through alleys carved 2 millennia ago. It isn't a museum. It's alive with motion and grit. Once a refuge for emperors, it now pulses with markets, music, and the everyday mess of real life unfolding inside old walls. The sea shapes everything here, from the salt that clings to windowsills to the defiant independence of the people. Split is not polished. It's powerful. Its strength lies in its ability to contain both grandeur and simplicity, noise and silence, decay and rebirth, all within the span of a single afternoon. To understand it, you don't look, you listen. Trogir rests like a bridge between time periods, part island, part memory, entirely authentic. With a population of around 13,000 residents, this small city holds centuries of complexity within its compact frame. Empires have laid claim to it, cultures have filtered through it, and yet it has never lost its distinct identity. Time here feels elastic. The past and present exist in layers, never quite separate. The air carries both salt and silence, broken only by footsteps echoing through tight corridors. But behind the aged walls and ornate facades is a place that endures not by chance, but by choice. Trogir's strength lies in preservation. not of objects, but of values. Harmony, craftsmanship, and continuity shape life here even when no one is watching. High above the sea, encased by centuries of fortification, Dubrovnik stands as Croatia's most iconic coastal sentinel. Its population of about 40,000 residents swells with seasonal visitors, yet its core remains unshaken. Once a republic of traders and thinkers, this city has long known how to protect what it values, be it freedom, culture, or beauty. The scent of pine and ocean lingers year-round, while terracotta rooftops ripple under the sun like waves of a quieter storm. Though wars have tested it and commerce has transformed it, Dubrovnik refuses to become a relic. Instead, it is both symbol and survivor, one that wears its scars openly, not as wounds, but as proof of what it has overcome. This is not just a city, it's a declaration. Hvar is where the sun lingers longer, casting its glow over an island that has been prized since ancient times. With around 11,000 permanent residents, its population swells in warmer months, but the island never loses its rhythm. Generations here have shaped the land with discipline, cultivating vineyards in tight rows and taming hillsides with stone walls that stretch like veins. Its geography is as dramatic as its history, carved by wind, watched by stars, and wrapped in the scent of lavender carried inland from the sea. Yet behind its beauty is a story of strategy and survival. Hvar has thrived not just on appeal, but on adaptation, weathering piracy, politics, and progress with the same quiet patience that defines island life. Perched on the southern coast of Brač, Bol is a village of fewer than 2,000 residents, yet it leaves a larger impression than its size suggests. It lives at the intersection of mountain and sea, shaped by both the elements and the passage of time. Once a quiet fishing outpost, Bol now balances tradition with tourism, relying on a landscape where the natural and man-made meet without tension. The karst cliffs above whisper of prehistoric shifts, while the rhythmic splash of waves carries stories of trade routes and travel long before maps were drawn. Bol is not about spectacle. It's about a sense of placement, where people don't conquer the landscape, but fold themselves into it, letting nature remain the lead storyteller. Remote and defiant, Komiza is one of Croatia's westernmost inhabited outposts, located on the island of Vis and home to just over 1,500 residents. Its isolation has always been its identity, a place beyond the reach of fast change, where seafaring skills are passed like heirlooms and traditions outlast trend. Time flows differently here. The village wakes to the sound of weather, not alarms. Its history is maritime, but its culture is profoundly grounded, built by generations who understood the ocean's promise and punishment alike. There's a stark honesty to Komiza, one not smoothed by polish, but deepened by endurance. For travelers who reach it, the reward isn't spectacle, but stillness, a rare sense that you've arrived somewhere that does not need your presence to be complete. Cradled between the Adriatic and the high ridge of a coastal mountain range, Makarska is a town shaped by geography and forged by necessity. With roughly 13,000 residents, it's a vibrant hub where the mountains seem to lean forward as if watching the sea. Its streets pulse with local energy, not just seasonal influx. Unlike the islands, Makarska feels tethered to the mainland's determination. Its past includes earthquakes and invasions, yet the town endures, expanding with each generation while still holding space for the older rhythms. Olive groves edge modern homes, and seagulls cross paths with hikers descending craggy inclines. This is not merely a beach destination. It's a place that speaks two languages, that of the earth and that of the tide. Krka National Park isn't defined by one waterfall or trail. It's a living network of limestone, water, and ancient human interaction. Fed by a river that carved its way from the Dinaric Alps to the Adriatic, the park protects more than just scenery. Within its 42 square miles lie ecosystems shaped by both natural processes and centuries of human influence, including monasteries that once functioned as remote sanctuaries. The biodiversity here rivals more famous parks, with over 800 plant species and a variety of endemic fish and birds. But what sets Krka apart is its accessibility. The wilderness is framed, but not tamed. Visitors don't just view nature, they stand within it, listening as water continues its quiet engineering, reshaping stone with the patience of centuries. Omis sits at the mouth of a river that carved its way through solid karst rock, forging a deep canyon that now defines the town's dramatic geography. With a population of about 15,000 residents, Omis balances local life with seasonal intrigue, and its natural surroundings have always offered more than beauty. They provided defense. In the medieval era, these sheer cliffs and twisting channels offered the perfect cover for pirates, who once made Omis infamous across the Adriatic. Today, it attracts adventurers of a different kind: climbers, rafters, and hikers who recognize the terrain's unique potential. But beneath the adrenaline is a slower story, of a place shaped by its limits as much as its opportunities, where the land challenges those who try to master it. Tucked along the curve of the Hvar Gulf, Opatija moves at a slower tempo than Croatia's southern coastlines. Its climate, mild even in winter, was once a draw for 19th century aristocrats seeking recovery in sea air and shaded promenades. That legacy lingers in the town's layout and sensibility, where cafes still open slowly and gardens are curated as much for meditation as for beauty. With a population of around 11,000 residents, Opatija has retained its identity as a retreat, even as the world beyond it changes. Here, wellness isn't a marketing term. It's cultural muscle memory. Locals swim year-round in protected coves, and the air carries the scent of both salt and laurel. This isn't escape by isolation, but by intentional slowness, where life is lived at the pace of the tides. Thank you for joining us on this adventure. If you'd like to join us on the next one, then let's go travel here.